Is Janet from another planet? 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 Is Janet from another planet?
We live in a complicated world, and I believe we, the people, have the right to know what's happening in our towns, cities, and states. The mainstream media does not have our best interest at heart, and I want to share some information from around our great nation so we can fight back by being informed. Join me each week as we go after hours and get behind the scenes to uncover the truth.
Today's digital landscape with the spread of false information can lead to dangerous outcomes. It's crucial for everyone to think critically and verify sources and reflect on the impact of what they share. Let's promote responsible communication to ensure that truth prevails and actions remain rooted in reality.
The opinions you're about to hear on this show are strictly those of the panel.
The following program is rated TV MA LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Well, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight on X and Rumble and YouTube. Tonight I have Chris and Dawn again. It's been a while since I've had both of them together, but I was really happy that they were able to work it out, and they're going to give us some updates on what's happened since the last time. I think it was like last year, right?
I think last summer.
Year. Yeah, that I had you both on here talking about what you guys were working on with supplements and different things, and you were about to go and do some stuff in Congress and talk about a bunch of stuff. So I want to get updated. You don't have to talk about anything you aren't allowed to, which is fine. Just give us information about. I'm just going to hand you over to the show basically and let you two talk about the different things that you guys have done together, what you've done separately, what goals you've reached, and where you plan on going. And if anything happens, I'll just butt in and ask questions. How's that? But thank you, Dawn. I really appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. It's nice to hear your voice again. Is she there? Can she hear me? I don't know if she can hear me.
She turned her mic on and off.
Okay, well, she'll be right back, but you go ahead and get started, Christopher, and give us an update on so far on what stuff you guys were talking about, because it wasn't that long ago that you were able to give us a tiny bit about what was going on when you went to Congress. So I'll shut up and let you go for it.
Well, they're having more hearings right now. They got Peter Daszak in, and he basically what they brought him in for is over a DHS cover-up, because we were investigating him concerning COVID. So he was in China. He was coming over. He had been in Wuhan talking to them and doing his thing, and he was going to come over and home. And we detained him, and then DHS came in and said that we had to let him go. And it was kind of in the middle of an investigation, but I'll add on that note that that's the part of all this that Senator Paul is working on. Senator Johnson is working on that, but he's working on a lot of other things. And more came out today about what was going on with the FBI and the cover-ups and the censoring and all of those things.
Hmm.
So basically, there was a shadow government running, and it was the FBI that was doing it. Now, Chris Wray came and testified a lot. He had to know that was going on. He had to. So they're getting close to the place where they can start asking, all right, well, who told you to do it? And that's kind of with any kind of thing like what we've endured for the last, Senator Johnson called it 50 years today. He said we've been in a revolution for 50 years, and Trump is really running a counter revolution. And what we're doing is we're trying to get to the top of the people who were behind the revolution because they've embedded themselves in the government. And I think sadly we just have near about 100 days to the midterms. If Republicans aren't out there voting, and I'm talking about straight being serious voting, and if you're not looking into your candidates and making sure that they're behind the same things you are, we could end up in a really bad place. If the Democrats take the House, what they're going to do is they're going to end the filibuster, which means they can get anything they want through Congress without discussing it or the votes or any of that. That's why the Republicans never did it, because it's a stopgap in the function of our government. So
Can I
that,
ask you a question about that?
yeah,
That's one thing I wanted to ask before and I forgot, but I'm going to do it right now. Okay, if let's say that the Democrats do end up winning, I don't know why anyone would vote for a Democrat, honestly. I really don't if that has any common sense. But let's say they win because there's still cheating going on or whatever, they get in and they pass a whole bunch of stuff and Trump won't sign it. Can they override the president and make it into a law anyways without his signature?
yeah, I mean, it can happen. They have to involve the Supreme Court in that, though, and the
Yeah, but
Senate
they
has to
fill in the
pass it.
Supreme Court with a bunch of liberals to do those things, right?
Yeah, but the Supreme Court has to get involved. Those are all legal issues. I'll answer your question, though. There's an answer for what you asked.
Hmm.
What there are there are U.S. representatives out of New York. Prime example. 50% of New York votes communist. So that's how they get in. It's those areas, the sanctuary cities, the areas where they caught somebody else with illegal votes in their system that go
Hmm.
back to the 2020 election. They found a bunch of them in Georgia, like 38,000 of them in Georgia recently. So
Yeah.
things are moving forward fast enough to make it to the midterms. I don't know, and if we lose any of the control we have in the three branches of government right now, it's highly likely that, I don't want to say point of no return. I think that's, you know, dismal. I have a more popular hope. I got hope. I
Yeah, I've
believe
got
that,
hope, but it's very small right now
well,
because
what happens is you have
we have money.
moderates. Moderates are the ones who swing their votes. The people that you hear arguing how great Republicans are, and the people you hear arguing about how great Democrats are, they make up, somewhere around 28% of the whole mass of each one represents 28%. But then the rest of that, the 45%, 44%, that represents the moderates, and the moderates, are all really agreeing. I mean, if you saw Elon cuss out that lady interviewing him, and she was like, "Oh, there's no, we don't." It's he gave somebody hell today,
Yeah.
and then he had his lawyers make sure that they wouldn't be able to remove it from the interview, and it's going viral now, and he really got on the media. He really did, and so what we're up against is oligarchs that fund the left and fund the world organizations like ICC, UN, WEF, and all that, because a lot of what's going on in the global tension belongs to those groups, but they're mostly funded by American oligarchs, and like Jeff Bezos' ex-wife, she dumps money on them. It's a lot of ex-wives who inherited money from tech.
Yeah.
So Dawn must
Well,
be in an area where she doesn't have any connection.
well, she's been popping in and out. When she comes back in, and when she tried to speak, you couldn't really hear her because it was all broke up. But what I want to ask, one of the questions that I've been asked millions of times on all my channels is, what's going to happen to Fauci? Anything?
Well,
Because
The Fauci hang up is the legitimacy of his pardon, right? So uh, Rand brought him in, is bringing him in, right?
mhm.
And if he lies now, the pardon doesn't go for anything he did in the future. And now we have all the facts and know when he lied and what he lied about. So they'll be asking him about those things, basically giving him a chance to tell the truth. If he lies again, now that's a new crime, and that's not covered by the. And I think they threw out all that auto pen, throwing out the auto pen stuff, and which I don't agree with. I don't think that, auto pen is like when somebody writes the president and tells them how great they just did and won this award or whatever. And the president always answers every piece of mail. There's a whole floor in the White House, and that's all they do is answer those. And then they auto pen those, and most of those are automatically generated. Something that's very personal and has to come from the president's mind, especially concerning releasing pedophiles and murderers,
Well, see,
letting
that's
them
really
off.
different. I honestly, as an American citizen, think that if somebody's going to be released from prison or something like that, that it's going through court, they should be signed not by an auto pen. They should be
Yeah,
signed
right.
by
Yeah,
the person.
everybody agrees with
But
that.
now, if you're gonna write a personal letter to somebody, like somebody wrote in and said, "Hey, I want to blah 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 or whatever. Thank you so much for this or that," and they have a stamp or whatever, that I would understand that if I got a letter that just had a stamp on it, that you could tell wasn't a handwritten thing. Okay, I wouldn't be, oh my God, look at, I got a stamp. I wouldn't do that. I got a letter from the president's office. That's all that matters to me and any other kid or whatever. So to me, honestly, I don't see any reason to have a thing that writes a letter for you. I just, unless you have a 5 people stand around to make sure that's all been verified or whatever, to make sure that the president is the one who said, yes, I'm going to sign this. And he's sitting there and he can't sign because he's getting an IV or his hand's broken or whatever, that's the only time I think they should use an auto pen, period. If it's not his original signature, then no, he shouldn't sign anything. And if he's incapacitated, they should say, well, the vice president's going to have to step up or whatever. And they've done that many times when a president's having surgery or something else like that's happened. And it's perfectly legal. But they've got to follow it that way. To me, I just don't see any reason for anyone to have an auto pen. I just think that's why I loved it when I showed it multiple times, that video showing Trump walking down the hallway and a picture of the auto pen instead of Joe Biden. I thought that was great because that was perfectly fitting. Anyone that would do that over and over and over again just to get extra dollars in his bank account because he's helping people pump people up or whatever. I mean, we all knew that with the whole laptops shit came out, that it was all pay for play bullshit. And that's why I think we should just get rid of it. That should be put into a big machine and we watch it on national TV, them crushing the auto pen. I would think people would be paid for tickets to do that, a fundraiser for veterans or something.
I'm going to
That would
go
be,
out on a limb and say that there was already a lot of talk about military tribunals,
mhm.
right? So I have seen and held an auto pen Joe Biden letter, and you should ask Dawn. She's trying to get back on. She's having
Yeah,
issues.
I know. I'm sorry. Oh, here she comes again. Yay! Can you hear us?
Yes,
Yeah,
finally.
I can hear you.
Okay,
Awesome.
Dawn, we were just discussing Biden's auto pen, And I was going to tell one of your stories and let you expand on it, but I'm going to let you go ahead and tell it. I want you to talk about the auto pen letter you got from Joe Biden and all the things he said that we already knew weren't true in that letter. And he kept insisting that, it was, would, you talk about the letter because we knew then that it was wrong. And now Congress knows that all of that stuff is wrong because of all the work we've done and the work that Senator Paul and Senator Johnson and Tim Burchett and some of the other, what the hell is this vaccine crap? Anyway, talk about that letter because that's the topic we're on.
Okay, so yeah, I wrote the White House a email stating that I had the COVID cure or whatever, I had a potential cure, okay? And with that potential cure, I stated about how my concerns were with the water and stuff like that about the COVID. He wrote me a letter back, which I was really surprised I got one signed by him, right? And it said, I assure you that you can rest assured that we have the COVID under control and more or less don't need my help. And that I am to take all my family and go get vaccinated. That they had the COVID under a wrap. And I was like, wow, he did not just tell me to do that. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, no, he said more than that. He said,
Yeah. Go ahead.
nah, some of the things that were said in there that they guaranteed that it would prevent you from spreading it if you got it. That was a lie. They said you couldn't get it again if you got the vaccine. That was a lie. They said that your family all needed it. In the end, what we found out is that the only people that needed it were really sick old people, and it wasn't doing much to help them. I mean, it's the only group of people that it helped. But they just uncovered some new data in the European group where and this is a European problem. This isn't America that did this, tap foot 3 feet on the ground. So people were coming in with COVID. They couldn't breathe. They were having anxiety and they're freaking out. So they would give them lorazepam, which is a benzodiazepine that attacks your breathing center. And on top of that, they were giving them fentanyl, which attacks your breathing system. And they're saying that it may be in the millions of people that they literally killed with that dose of medicine. And it said in their report that go ahead and give it to them, even though these are true, real problems that we have, that we know it can make them stop breathing, but give it to them anyway. You're talking about people that were suffering already from respiratory distress. So some of those ventilator drownings was the word that the nurses were using. When before, they thought the ventilators would work. Well, no, that's a type 4 pneumonia. The water's coming out of the blood. So when you ventilate the lung, you're pressurizing the water and not allowing it to get out of the lungs or the blood or anything. And it all backed up and they would drown in there. So finally they woke up to that and they stopped using the ventilators. But that was the time they were giving the
Can I ask a question
midazolam.
real quick about that?
Yeah.
I remember, God, it was early on. It was like before most everyone I knew was getting the vaccine. It was when they were doing them only in nursing homes and hospitals and stuff for really, really sick people. Okay. And and I had a couple of my nurse friends from different states that were telling me they were having what you were just talking about people that were drowning. Basically, they were drowning in their own bodily fluids by being on a respirator, but they didn't know what else to do. And I was like, why don't you do the same thing you do with newborns? Turn them upside down and let it drain out. Why didn't anybody try that? I mean, we do it to people who get drowned and things like that. So I don't know. I just didn't understand a lot of it, and I'm not even a nurse. To get the moisture out of their lungs so that they could actually get air back in there into those sacs, in their lungs.
It was really weird, but I was on a medication at that time that they gave me. I've told you about my car wreck in 2015 and it fractured my skull. And so I was having seizures from 2015 until about 2021. And it's healed up now and gone away, but they had me on a seizure medicine. And I sent this message to Dr. Sawalk at MedCram and to John Campbell over in Europe for their research team. And I told them that I was on a Finben drug. And that's basically what they were giving me for the seizures.
Mm-hmm.
So they were testing that because what I told them was I have to drink 2 gallons of water every day, every when I'm taking this medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And so I told them
Dry you
I don't
out.
pee. I don't pee that much. I said no. I don't pee. I don't sweat. I don't do much. I have a seizure problem, so I very seldom ever drive. I don't go do a lot of hard work. I had a skull fracture, for Christ's sake, and this
Can I
water was
comment?
disappearing.
Can
Yeah,
I
go
comment
ahead.
on them drowning? A lot of it was too. The parasite is in your lymphatic system, where it's in your lungs and it winds up drowning you. So that
Mm-hmm.
was part of the COVID too as well.
Terrible.
Yeah, there's a lot of videos on YouTube about how to manipulate and drain your lymphatic system, and that's
Mm-hmm.
something that all of the doctors are trying to get people to do because these spike proteins get in there. And so they're thinking that if we can drain that and the body can excrete them and our metabolism. Here's the problem with the spike protein: it hides. Right. No matter what the stuff Don and I have come up, no matter any of that, you're talking about things where 10 million of them would fit on the head of a pin.
Well, like you showed me that one documentary that one doctor did, and he explained that the spike protein attaches itself to healthy cells, and then your own body attacks the healthy cell because it's got a spike protein attached to it. That's why it's called an autoimmune disorder or whatever. But the
Ru-
thing is that I also showed the CEO of YouTube showing in her interview that she took videos down if you were trying to tell people to take ivermectin or vitamin C or use vitamin D or do any of these different things to help yourself so you wouldn't get the shot. She took all that down. That's one reason why all the first stuff that we did, everything I got in trouble for, and I'd be taken out for 2 weeks because she did not want anybody sharing anything if it didn't say get the jab, get the jab, get the jab, that's all she wanted. And she's no longer alive today to see what's gone on, but I understand that now. We're seeing more and more of that, and Google. That video that I played for the young man that came out and said that Google was suppressing stuff and that they were using a special algorithms to keep certain things up. And even if it was truthful, factual information, they would suppress it if it wasn't what they felt was the right thing. So we've got to get all this done and stuff. And he was testifying to the Senate and stuff in Texas, in the state of Texas. So there's lots and lots of stuff coming out. But the thing is, with groups like the one we're on, one of the channels that we're on right now, it's just hard to share truthful, factual information. I mean, I did the one on one of our shows that we talked about. I had the Surgeon General of Florida. I had a video off a Tucker show, and he was talking about how he wasn't going to let anyone under a certain age get the vaccine in the state of Florida because we wanted to see if it altered their DNA and all that stuff. And they took me down for medical misinformation. And I'm like, it's a Surgeon General of Florida, for Christ's sake, you know? So all of this stuff is just utter chaos. And it wasn't because people weren't trying to share facts, it was because the media and other organizations like that were cutting you off at the knees and not letting you share it. Even with your own family and friends, they would do anything they could to stop you from being able to get factual information. I mean, Dawn talked about when she went personally to the doctor and was telling them about, well, I want to see it under the microscope and all that, and they were saying, no, she's crazy. You know, we got to hide her out because she's opening her eyes and she might get other people to follow her. You know, it was psycho. I
Let,
mean,
let me give you the current thing they're doing,
Oh,
okay?
you guys know
And this
what?
this let me
Really quick
give you the
here.
current.
yeah.
They're
Let Dawn say something
I
real
have a
quick.
lady that sat next to me that's a nurse, right? And she was told by the head of the director of the hospital that if they weren't to lie, that their funding would be cut off if they weren't to go in there and tell them what they wanted them to tell them. And that's out of Colorado, right? So that was out of a hospital in Colorado that their director said if they didn't say what they wanted them to say, that their funding would be yanked from them and they wouldn't get their funding.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's
Yeah,
certainly.
so there's currently, all right, the FBI was behind that, right? Now, I sent that thing to Dr. Campbell about Finben and Dr. Angus Dalgleish. They were
Mm-hmm.
treating people and they were giving them ivermectin. So they added fenbendazole to it, and they were only doing it for their sickest patients. And
Mm-hmm.
most of their sickest patients had cancer, and they were going from stage 4 end of life cancer to cancer free using ivermectin and fenbendazole, which I told them would get rid of their water. Now they're suppressing that. It's a cure for like 8, 10 different kind of cancers, and they're refusing to allow this information to be made public. I
Yeah,
mean,
and
we
and
can talk about it.
there was a video that came out. Joe Rogan was talking about how ivermectin was helping people with cancer. Okay, on his show. Now, because he's Joe Rogan, he was allowed to talk about it. But then you had Mel Gibson that came out, and he was in an interview, and he said he had 4 friends. One of them, I remember one of the persons he said had stage 4 cancer, and he said they started taking ivermectin and something else. The other thing that,
Fenbendazole.
yeah, okay,
Fenbendazole. Yeah.
that all of a sudden he was cancer free within 4 months or something. So the thing is, when you have so many people, and guess what though, if these people were suppressed and not able to even get it out there, even those small amount of people that got to see these interviews, how many more people would have died? You see what I mean? So the fact that we even had anybody able to speak about anything on any platform
Right.
to help other people get the information, I don't know how many more people we would have lost. But I can tell you right now, almost every person that I know that personally that took the stuff and booster stuff are not healthy.
And you know, Janet, what's crazy is this: is I actually went out and did a patent that's pending for the Tulsi tea, right?
Yep.
And when I put that out there on blast, right, and I was giving it out to everybody just for free, right, just to help society and humanity, and they
Mm-hmm.
actually took the actual herb out of the tea and removed it off the shelf, right? They took that tea, that herb, and put a different tea supplement in there, another different kind of Tulsi that doesn't work, and then put that on the shelf, and it was taken out within a month of me posting it. Okay, all
Mm-hmm.
right, 1 month, all right, something that actually helped everybody clean their blood in 4 minutes, all right,
Can
instead of
you
going to Japan and paying all this money,
Yeah, can
right?
you explain all that real quick? Remember when you and I we just had that whole thing where we just sat and talked, and you were explaining about how hard it was just to get Tulsi, like you're talking about, and that you had to contact all these different growers because they were not growing it from the original seeds anymore. Remember all that stuff you were explaining to me? Could you explain that real quick for people that are watching? Because
Yeah.
I thought that was very interesting. And that is a lot of work that other people probably would never even think of doing what you decided to do. So would you explain that for us?
Okay, so I think this is what you're asking me. So I went ahead and found a herb that was one kind of brand of Tulsi that actually worked, right? But it took me a long time to find that Tulsi. Then when I did find it, a lady posted it on X, and I was like, "Lady, please take that down because if you post it, they're going to take it away from us, and then a lot of people are not going to be able to have that to get better." She
Mm-hmm.
argued with me, and then all of a sudden, 17 of those farms were raided. Okay, with the white coats or whatever, we raided those farms because you have to, with that Tulsi, you have to have a number with it, right? So you have to
Yep.
put that in there with the seed because it's organic. So you have to have that number with that Tulsi, and so they weren't doing their farms right, and they closed them all down. And there's only like 2 or 3 that I know of that actually grow that Tulsi to this day, which is a very limited farms in America anyway, right? I don't know about out of the country, but in America, but they did have it in the India tea, and now they don't have it. They took it out of that tea as well. So that's kind of like where we stand with how they just yanked it out really fast. I mean, really fast.
Let me tell you something that Dawn did that just came out today. This morning, I guess 1 o'clock or maybe 12 o'clock London time, because it came out of London.
Yeah.
But this was one of the things that me and Dawn had this thing. She would tell me something. I'd go, yeah, right. Of course, I would look into it, and then it'd end up she was right.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that she totally got right got revealed today. and it got revealed in a way of why aren't they looking into this? And it was about the blood clots in people's legs that they're taking out of autopsies. They gave all the numbers on what the percentage of people is that they're still embalming people that have these things. Now, here's something interesting. In their research, they found out that this started in 2017 and 2018. And then when they started giving the vaccines, it blew up to like where 50% in some morgues of the people were, between 39 and 65% or something was in most of them. And there were some morgues where 100% of the people had this. But what Dawn said long before they did any test on these clots or did any of that, she said it was protein. And that was announced today by the biggest medical reporting organization in all of Europe. And that came out today. So Dawn,
Well, what causes the protein to build up in your vein like that? Is it your body
Oh, I
trying
can
to?
tell
no,
you.
that's what
I
the
can
whole
tell you.
article was about. They won't figure it out, but go ahead, Dawn.
Yeah,
I can tell you
that's
what
what
it
I'm asking.
is. It's okay. So there's to me, I would say this. Okay, when I went and took the water, okay, and I was able to take dish soap, and you take dish soap, you just put a little like tablespoon of dish soap in your water and you shake it up, right? And anything that's left up on top in the bubbles is after a minute is all protein. Okay, so when I took that protein and put it underneath the microscope, long behold, there we have it, all the C. elegans that I could find, right? All of them that I could find under the sun, and it was pretty obvious, right? So those are the proteins that I found. All right. So when you look at the proteins that are around the blood that you talk about being the autoimmune disorders, they are bright yellow, and that was a spike protein that they were saying was a spike protein around all of our red blood cells. Well, when I did my research, they would jump off and run off, and they were parasites. It wasn't parasites are yellow; they're in the blood, right? So those are the proteins that I was finding.
Very interesting.
Yeah,
But that's what I'm saying.
there's videos of these blood clots, but here's the thing.
Yeah.
Dr. Campbell said today, I can't show the pictures that come with this article from like the government of London, right? Because
Mhm.
they said YouTube would kick him out of being able to get money. So this,
Mhm.
I'm just reiterating that there are cover-ups going on all over the place. We've got them in Congress, and we're just, you lied, you lied, you lied. Who cares about the lie? We have got to get to the truth. People are dying. Young men are dying of heart disease, and we know every bit of this came from the vaccine. And my last hearing with Senator Johnson about cancer, the leading people of cancer in America were lying to the Senate, and they were
Oh,
saying things that we proved 5 years ago. It's like that is a lie. Now, Senator Johnson knows that. Dr. Paul knows that
and here's
we
another
came
thing
up with
too.
these answers.
Here's another thing too, microplastic. Okay, they're saying it's all in our water, right? We got all this microplastic. Guess what C. elegans eats? Microplastic. So when I did the study, I said, oh, you just take this dye, right, and you put it on the in the water with the microplastics and all that, right? And guess what it shows? It would light up the worm, right? Because the worm ate the microplastics and it's inside its belly. Now you can see the microplastics because it's gonna stick to that dye. So I was able to do that and come up with the worm and see the worm that it's in the water, right? So it's a way to confirm that the C. elegans in the water too. So yeah, it's micro. They eat microplastic. Now get this: when you go and look at dark matter, you guys, dark matter is the same as it's the same as microplastic. It's the same chemical compound. Holy crap! Because when this stuff starts to like get in our blood turns black, right? So yeah, you tell me.
It is
Yeah,
interesting.
I just saw something about microplastics that'll blow your mind. I might as well go ahead and tell you. They started looking at all the microplastics. How, show us your test, blah blah blah. So they ended up finding out that a large majority of people who were having high microplastics, it was coming off of the gloves, the polyurethane gloves that the researchers were using,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they had to come up with a new system for doing that. And now the tests don't show that. Now, there are people with high microplastics. Most of them you know, it's like they use the same water bottle and they refill it for 6 months, you know, and they let it sit in the sun. And that's how the microplastics get released. They're interacting with the hydrogen molecules in the water. And so they get pulled out that way, the nanoparticles of the plastic. So most of that can be prevented by doing that. Now, pairing that with what Dawn just said, it's highly likely that people who did have a lot of microplastics were the ones who were getting the vaccine and then die like 2 days later because they could just reproduce and totally get all over the whole body. And depending on which vaccine maker you got your vax from, depending on what your pre-genetic disposition was, it might hit your spleen, it might hit your liver, it might hit your testicles or your, you know, your eyes or whatever. And each one of them had a different thing. And so that's the complexity of all of the autoimmune diseases that have arisen and all of this other stuff we have to get to. And we need for official records to show, okay, Pfizer did this, okay, Moderna did that, okay, Johnson and Johnson did this. And as long as we keep arguing about they lied to us, right? They're using all the time in the Senate, all the money it takes to run those things with security and TV and blah, blah, blah. They're $30,000 an hour at least. And everybody already knows they lied. What we need is we need the truth out in all these things that Dawn and I have. And there are countless people all over YouTube at this point that have caught on to what we did, right?
And
And
another thing
so
too,
people are
yeah,
trying other stuff and it works.
Go
yeah,
ahead,
there is
Don.
other stuff that works. Hold on, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Chris. I apologize. But I was
No,
just
go ahead.
excited to tell you guys that that's another reason why the autoimmune disorders and stuff are coming on and the cancers and stuff is because the C. elegans actually changes our genetic makeup. It could change a G to an a T to a C, right? And so it could change our genetic makeup, which would then causes all these mutations, which then causes all these sicknesses, right? So that's why a lot of people are getting sick because they do change our genetic makeup. And they can
Well,
also turn on our enzymes on and off. And what a powerful tool to have on the public, right?
Yeah,
well,
well,
one of the
there's
things I wanted to
there.
add really quick is
Go
when
ahead.
you brought up the whole thing with the microplastics, because I was reading some of the stuff on Dawn's page, which I'm going to bring up in just a minute to show people, was what popped in my head is who do I know personally that constantly carries bottles of water and drinks them? Athletes, tons of them. So
Yes,
to
yes. There
see
you go, girl.
so
Yes.
many young athletes that constantly drink water because their coach is always saying stay hydrated, stay hydrated, stay hydrated, and they're constantly drinking, and they're taking them in their backpacks and in their vehicles, blah blah blah, on their motorcycles, on their bikes. So they're constantly drinking it. So when they got the shot and they're really healthy, but they're filled with microplastics, right? There we go.
Absolutely. Yes,
Just
absolutely.
see all these young people just dropping like flies, and
10-year-old,
that
9-year-old.
when you
Yep.
said that, it all makes sense because I'm telling you, uh, I'm not seeing a lot of people that are already heavy, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that just falling over. Now they are sickly and they're getting sicker, but they weren't the ones that you first saw, falling over. It was these young people having these heart attacks and strokes and things like that that are out on the field playing soccer or basketball or whatever it is. That is when you said that, when I saw that whole thing with about the microplastics, that is immediately what popped in my head because that's common sense. Tell you that the reason why these young people are being targeted is because they are the ones that are trying to stay healthy and hydrated by constantly drinking. And the only way that you can pretty much buy it at Walmart, the grocery store, at Costco, any of these places is what? Cases of bottled water in plastic. I just had to say that. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go back.
Yeah, so Don, let me ask you a question. In any of your research into this, have you looked like
Water.
C. elegans is everywhere? We all have C. elegans, right? And then we have to look at the fact that the people that Janet just mentioned, what they died of was cytokine storm or cytokine storm, depending on how you want to say it. But if you're identifying what you just described, on the way that would work, that would trigger cytokine storm, because if they had the plastic to eat, that means they could reproduce faster, and that could trigger cytokine storm because there would just be too many of antigens in the blood, which the antigen in this case would be the spike protein. So if you haven't looked into that, you should look into that and just see, look
Okay, I
through.
have. I lost you guys, so but I wanted to tell you guys I did look into. I pulled it up on my webpage one time, and I actually posted it, and it was about all the people that were falling over dead with the COVID, and it was on sudden death or whatever that guy's page is. And I took all those people, and I was pulling up any of their death certificates that I could get a copy of, right? And it was actually they actually all had the same protein in their body that was in the heart. Okay, and it was a 6 TB. It was a certain one, and I actually have it posted on my page that shows the connection to that being a silkworm, a fibrin and stuff that was in their body that would pin it to the worms, the parasites.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
I'd really be
you
interested to
talking
see the
about that.
blood work in some of the autopsies and know what the D dimer was doing. But that's basically what Dr. Sawalt is the one who got me to look at that. Well, that
Mhm.
my dad, I sent it to my dad, and that was the first time it was really public stated that cytokine storm was killing him. That was my dad's thing. It's probably the last great medical thing he did before he died. That was around March or early April of 2020.
Well,
And
one of
that was it. That was the same time we were trying to get them to stop using the ventilators, but they didn't stop using those until about May of 2020.
one of the questions I wanted to ask Dawn, because it's been a while since I've gotten to really just talk to her, because she's been really busy with a lot of other things too. She has a family and a life, just like other people.
Yeah.
But the thing is that I wanted to ask Dawn how it felt to get to go there with Chris and talk to all these people, doctors, all these different types of doctors and scientists and stuff, and then the looks on their face when you were able, just a mom and a grandma or whatever in a kitchen with a microscope, and when you were explaining to them how you found out all these things for yourself, how did they react to you when you were getting to tell people about that? That's what I want to know.
Well, first they all called me crazy, right? And it was like,
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
and some still to this day still call me crazy, and I get that I am a little crazy, right? But I'm not like cray cray, right? So,
Hmm.
but maybe it took somebody like that to see it too. I don't know, right? I don't know, but it's a lot of people weren't seeing it, and I don't know why, but I guess because like Chris said, I took a microscope and actually looked at the blood like old school, right, Chris? I mean,
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I got my introduction to it February the 8th of 2020, what, 4? And you're like, get poke your finger and get some blood on a slide. And I looked at my blood, I was like, I'll be damned, dog. I got shit in there. Yeah, I might, yeah. Yeah, I was shocked. I mean, the one thing that I said way back then, and I told this to Dr. Sawalt, Dr. Campbell, my dad, Robert Redfield, who was the head of the CDC, and I was laughing. And I said, you guys have gotten so smart, you're stupid. Because it took a girl that with no education, it just was common sense. I'm gonna look at my blood. I'm gonna look at what I excrete. I'm gonna look, and you were the one who identified all of that stuff, and then the medical teams kind of got together to help figure out what all of it was, and we were releasing more NIH
hold
documents.
on a second. I'm
But
going to say
no
something to
one
my
that I know
defense.
of dug
Yeah,
in
go
there
ahead.
the way
Go
Don
ahead,
did.
Don.
I do have an education, okay? I have an associate of science degree, thank you. And I actually graduated, okay, with good grades, but I don't have a medical degree, right? I don't have none of that. I get that. I
That's
don't
what
have
I
a science
meant.
degree. I know. I know. I'm just picking on you. But
But
yeah.
But what was interesting for me when I got to first time we got to sit and she was explaining to me the different things that she found and the details that she went to get to find the things, because she knew something was wrong and she tested her own blood and she went through her whole house getting different chemicals, different spices, different herbs, everything, and put it on the slide with her blood to see the reaction to the blood from whatever it was she was putting in there. And I just thought, oh my God, she's a genius. I mean, that
Oh,
and
what's funny is I'm
that's
a
how I felt.
hypochondriac, right?
Yeah, but no, but really, the thought of that was like you did it yourself. You had your own research laboratory, and instead of having all these technicians running around doing the samples, you had to do all the samples yourself by using anything you had available, trying to find out what is in there, what is in this blood, and it's causing it this. And then all of a sudden, when you started showing me on your microscope, which was genius too, buying your microscope where you could take video of it, that was, you know, I'm just saying, I would never have thought of that. Okay. And I think I'm okay smart. I don't think I'm a genius or anything, but I never would have thought of, I would have tried to prop my phone up there, or I don't know what I would have done. But the fact that you felt inspired by God to buy a microscope where you could actually videotape it while you were working on it yourself, I just thought that was just so inspiring. I just thought everything you were telling me was, you just went above and beyond where any other person would have ever went.
Absolutely.
And whatever
Well, I'll
reason
tell you why.
you,
I was
I'm
really
glad.
dumb. I was really dumb before all this, okay? But you know what they messed up when they gave me the C. elegans? It changed my genes and it made me smarter, okay? And that's all I can say. All right, so they
Well,
messed up when they put it in my genes, okay? Because then it made me smarter and it made me able to find them. That's and God and all by God, really. I joke around and say it was the C. elegans, but my spiritual side, I didn't believe in God before all this. But 4 years
mhm,
ago, when I heard him speak to me, and he told me that my whole purpose of being born was to expose this, and I didn't know what this meant, and I do now, I will
mhm,
never doubt him ever again. Like I can't forsake him ever again. It was very powerful, very spiritual, and very emotional for me on my spiritual side. So, and I give him all the credit because I'm really not that smart. Okay, so he guided me through all that.
Don, let me say something right here on this topic because we have to be able to laugh at how some of this was. But Janet, you have no idea. We traveled from Seattle, Washington to Miami, Florida, Phoenix, Detroit, Chicago, New York, DC a few times, right?
mhm,
And we're going around and she's got her microscope and we've got people volunteering, right? I mean, everybody's like, yes, yeah. And she would show them and they'd freak out. Oh my God, I can't believe that's in my blood, blah, blah, blah. So she didn't just, I mean, what we did, it cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, I promise you. So
mhm,
in all of that traveling, because it's not a girl in her microscope, it's a girl in a history of broken, shattered microscopes. And on
mhm,
the God thing, one time that happened, we were in Seattle and she hunts down this dude who literally owned a company that made microscopes and he had given one to his daughter. And we're talking about an electron microscope, like $10,000,
yeah.
15 grand. So we ride over to this dude's house. How much did he charge us for it, Dawn? $500 or something?
No, I think it was like $200, Chris. Like it was really, really
Yeah,
cheap.
I know. I was stunned when he said how much it was. I'm like, I pulled my wallet out. I'm like, here, dog. And I wanted to get out of there before he changed his
But
mind.
do you still have that one?
Yes. Okay. And here's the crazy
I
thing
would
is that
never get rid of it. I would
no,
never
I'm
get
not. That's cute you say that. I'm not. I haven't got rid of it. It's sentimental to me, and the reason why is I went out there to do two talk show hosts blood live, right? And when we
mhm,
get there, they broke the microscope at the airport when they were putting it through the luggage stuff, and so I was like, oh my gosh, like what am I gonna do now, right? We looked all
mhm.
over all day for a microscope, couldn't find one at all the stores, right? No store sold a microscope, and I we just got online and it was just God like led us right to that microscope and we got it and I was able to do their blood and it was cute because after they saw how clean their blood was the next day, they really wasn't too interested in the herbs until after they saw their blood and they're like, okay, show me how to do this, like, and they wanted to know everything,
That's
right?
right.
And I was
That's
like,
right.
oh, yeah,
That
they're
was
up
a
there
pretty
mixing their
popular
pills and
guy. That
yeah.
was popular, guys.
Well, that the good thing about that is because I don't know what it is for sure. All I know is that you might think you're crazy or whatever, but you have a way about you to be able to talk to someone on a normal level like me that doesn't understand a lot of the things that you were trying to explain, but you are so good at finding things like using rock and different things to help explain what it was that you had found and to share it with someone else who's not a scientist. Now you could go to DC and talk to all these people and say these different things and they would understand because they went to school for all this stuff and you've learned it as you went along more and more and more about the technology and stuff and the verbiage for it. But when you can sit down and you're talking to your neighbor or someone from your church, or like you said, the people on the show that you tested their blood and you showed them how to clean it up using herbs and things that you found, you are able to speak to these people and get them to understand in common sense way where they're like, I can't believe it's so hard for those people, the people in government, to understand when you can sit there and talk to people like and they understand when they leave the conversation within a day. You see what I mean? To me that's what's so hard. I'm struggling with it, going, why are they so oblivious to what can be laid right out in front of them and have someone demonstrate it right in front of them and they still go, "Gah?" I just don't get it.
I think it's fear. I think it's fear in that they don't want to accept the fact that, there could be a parasite in their blood eating them alive, right? I mean, who wants to say that one, right? Like, nobody wants to hear that, right? So I think maybe fear.
You're giving them the opportunity to see it, but to see it disappear also. See, I don't understand. The second part is there. You have it available because of all the work that you've done. So the fact that they're still afraid and they're too afraid that they don't want to fix it, I just
A lot,
I'm
a
having
lot of
hard
them
time.
hasn't seen it. A lot of them haven't even seen it.
That's
A lot
what
of
I'm
them,
saying. Why haven't they
no,
seen it? It's
right,
available.
right. It is available, and I even sent
It's
it to the COVID
suppressed.
committees.
It's suppressed. There's a question that was asked in the stream, and Dawn can answer this because it's a real sore subject with her.
Yeah.
The background of it is that before they allowed anyone to take a vaccine, Congress passed a bill that said that they didn't have to take the vaccine, no one in Congress, and that no one could ever be convicted of any bad outcome that came from the vaccine. But Dawn, you've seen those things and you found them, and why don't you talk about that? Because I know you'll talk about that subject
I'm lost. What do you mean? I'm that they.
about Congress, not Congress keeping themselves out of any mandates, and about I mean, remember when we found that out that we were together that at that time. I don't remember, we were in some city and we were talking about something, and I looked it up on the USA.gov, and it was in there that they had given themselves,
Yeah,
and
I
they
remember
So
you
voted.
they're
had
coming
said
in.
Congress
it.
So they're
all
coming in.
No,
I
I'm
don't.
talking about the accountability issue. We're addressing a question that's in the comments that
Okay.
said, what are they going to do to all the people that they made? Either
Well,
you
I hope
take
they
this or
indict
you.
them and that they charge them and convict them, but they're not. They're probably not going to, right?
No, no, they have a congressional order that before they did any of that, no one could
Can
be.
I ask a question about that? Who is the person or the small group of people that brought that forward and said we're going to make sure nobody can be prosecuted? Who are those people? Can we hold those people accountable? The ones who first went forward because they knew more than what they were telling the others? Because I guarantee you, half the people that voted to do it, thinking they were doing the right thing, didn't
Pfizer,
know
Nancy Pelosi.
30 people behind it. You see what I mean? See what I'm saying? Is there a
Yeah,
way to
well,
go
I mean,
in
I,
on
I got the
their side of
names,
it?
but I'm not going to say them.
No, I
But
know, but what
the
I'm saying is,
Presidential Intelligence
can we
Advisory
do
Board
that?
has the names.
Do you
The-
think we could go about it that way, though, is what I'm asking you, Chris.
I mean, well,
I
all I
think
can tell
anybody
you
that had
is,
a hand that played a part in this should be convicted and charged. Anybody,
yeah,
anybody that played a hand in it.
the Presidential Advisory Board, right, has that me and Dawn both got put in around January of this year. Okay, they've got the names of the people who are attached to these documents.
Yes, and the
What they're
evidence,
trying
right?
to do is try to navigate the legal system because they wrongfully protected themselves. We found emails inside Moderna from the head of Moderna to everyone who worked for him said, whatever you do, don't take that vaccine. Swear to
Can I,
God.
I want to say one thing. Remember, I think you might have been on the show or you saw the show afterward on the Friday Night Shit Show when I played that video of the leader CEO of Facebook before most people even got the shot when it was first being put out, and he's doing a live stream with just certain people in his organization, and he says, I don't think that any of you guys should get the shot because we don't know if it's going to alter your DNA, blah blah blah. He already knew this. He already knew this before half of the country had even gotten a shot,
Dawn,
and he
did
Hey,
when
remember that.
you guys, I
Dawn,
haven't said this to anybody yet, and I'm going to turn it over as evidence too here pretty soon. But I was able to obtain a copy of their credit card that NCIH used on all their transactions during the COVID, before the COVID, and after the COVID, right? That shows every peptide that they bought, where it went, who ordered it, all that. Okay. Oh, so, and it's out there. It's free information, right? I mean, I came across it, so it should be like able to come out, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it should be. I think it should be.
Dawn, I need you to remind me of something. Remember when we found Zuckerberg's wife's name as one of the vaccine developers? Was that the Department of Energy or NIH or where?
She was getting funded from the NCBI for to run research on the COVID stuff, and the documents that were in there, I don't know if it was really matching up to what the research really is, right? So that's what I'm going to land that. And I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus. It was just her facility, her name of her facility stamped on that research. I don't know if she did the research or somebody else did it.
Yeah, her name was associated with it. So she probably told Mark Zuckerberg, her husband, look, I mean, it goes back to that we've brought this up several times, Janet, and talked about it in recent time. 200 beagles and every one of them died the first time that they tested this vaccine on anything other than a mouse. And they put it in those dogs, and every one of the 200 dogs died.
That
And they
was one of the
gave it
first.
to us anyway. It's like,
That was one of the first videos that I got in trouble for medical misinformation on YouTube. But to me, I didn't understand it because I was just starting. I'm not monetized. I'm not making any money at all by doing this. I just think this is important. That's one reason why I started doing it. Especially, who wants to go on YouTube, a cosplayer, gamer, and talk politics, knowing that she's going to get the big fuck you from YouTube, right? I'm not doing it because I'm making money, because I'm not. I'm doing it because I think it's important. Just like Dawn. Dawn got a feeling that something, nobody was helping her figure out why she was sick and why her, all the stuff that was going on. So she did it for herself. And when she found out what it was, she's like, I got to fix this. I got to find out why this is happening. And she went gangbusters into it. And look what happened. Okay. She's helped so many people because she was determined to find out, because she was freaking stubborn as hell, which is great. It's a good quality. I have that too. It's just not the same way you have it. But we all have to stick together. We all have to back each other. We all have to listen to each other and share information to help people that don't know where to go because
Right.
they can't trust anyone.
Right.
You even
y'all
know.
are both
You
stubborn
for
and
sure
emotional.
No, because you were the one that was told, oh, she's nuts. We're going to put her in the nut house. We're going to do this, that, and the other. When all you were trying to do is get to the truth.
Oh.
That's the hard part about it, is not
Oh,
being
they
able
blow. And my house was blown up too. Don't forget that, with me in it, right? And my
yeah,
grandson too, right? I mean, that's another
yeah.
thing.
I know lots of bad things, but because God's on your side, you've been able to
I know. Still dead
somehow
here, right?
get past it, right? And the
Right.
thing is that you're not giving up. You're not a quitter. You are a fighter, and
Yeah. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right?
that's right. It does if you have faith in yourself, and you
Yeah.
do. And we have faith in you. I know I have
Well,
faith
thank
in you.
you. Thank
And
you.
I worried about you. I asked Chris about you a lot, and I'm like, I haven't heard from her. I sent her a couple of messages, I haven't heard back yet. That kind of stuff, because I do care, and to see you finally getting success out of it, it will pay off for you because you're going to start seeing more and more
That's
people
right.
that are going to get healthy, and you did that. Okay, so whatever happens with all the other stuff, it will hopefully will all come together and things will start being smoother for you, because there's nowhere for these people to run anymore, because millions of people now know the truth, and more are opening their eyes every day.
And Janet,
So
you say that, and you know what's crazy is these people are having to go to Japan, which costs thousands and thousands of dollars, right, to get their blood clean.
I
And
know.
they're going over there paying all this money, and they're going to come back and it's going to get back in their body because of our water, our food, and everything else it's in, right? And the
Mhm.
sad part is they're paying all this money when there's an herb out there that's 50 cents that does the same damn thing.
I know, but that's why you got to keep doing what we're doing. You got to keep
Yeah.
sharing. You got to keep going out and do something. Like I'm trying. I've been hounding this person right here, Chris. Fix your X account because we can't do spaces. We can't go on spaces
Oh.
and talk about this shit because he's got to get off his ass and fix his account.
I'll go
And
make you an account, Chris.
Okay, I'm going to pass the ball. Dawn, send me my other phone. That's where my two-factor authentication is.
well, the thing
If
is
you just
that we
send me
we
my
gotta
other phone, God
Right?
dang it, send
we
it
gotta
to
You know
help
me.
what?
each other to get things to work.
Come
And
see me and get your
that's
damn
all.
phone, Chris.
Oh, Jesus
The
Christ.
thing is, that's what it's about, is just trying to make sure we can get in touch with as many people as we can
Yeah,
and
you're
get them
right.
to look into it themselves, and they're going to go, wow, it's been here all this time. I wish I'd looked sooner. But the thing is, it's better late than never. I
So
remember many people saying that.
So what's crazy is this: I started to go. I came up with this compound that is on my. It's my avatar, right? And this
Hmm.
compound is supposed to stop them from ever entering our body again, the nematodes, right? So we would never get the C. And it would help us because if they're in our water, all right,
Hmm.
and we are just block that enzyme and turn that enzyme off, which is their water supply, or their oxygen supply and their food supply. So they wouldn't be
Hmm.
able to survive in us anymore. So if we was to have that, then we wouldn't have to keep taking the Tulsi. Like we have to keep taking the Tulsi. It's not a cure, right? It's a way to keep it at bay, right? But it wasn't an actual. Well, it would be a cure if we didn't have it contaminated in our water and stuff so bad. But we'd have to keep taking it this way. So the other way you don't, and then it would be a way to start eliminating it and start getting a handle on it because it's out of control, you guys.
I
Like
know,
it's
but
really out of control.
as soon as you get more and more and more people to doing the Tulsi and working towards that goal, more people open their eyes, we can get more people that we need in government to do the things that we need to do about the water. See, that's what I'm saying. It's a step-by-step process, especially, and it's really hard, especially when you have so many people just wandering around. They don't want to know, just like you just said a little while ago. And we have to make them open their eyes and show them. Look, it's helping people. I mean, okay, you were upset a lot because a couple of my friends actually went to Japan and did their cure. Okay, the thing is, or to help them, so when they come back, if they get infected, then maybe those people can start using your Tulsi stuff. But the thing is, until more people know about it, you can't really help that. You know what I mean? You aren't God. Okay, you're just a human. All you can do is use whatever resource you have to share your information. That's all we can do, and then pray that more and more people will see it somehow, and we can help people that way. That's the only thing we have. And I don't feel guilty because I can't reach everyone. I mean, I have people that just say they'd rather see me go to another planet commit suicide. So they don't want me talking. But the thing is, I just tell them, if you don't like what I'm saying, don't listen to me. Go to another channel.
Hey,
Go do
Dawn,
something else.
to finish what you were just talking about when you were finishing up, talk about the parasite aspect of this and all the stuff you found out about the parasitic function of it. How just you do it.
I'm going to the tower to
Uh-oh, she's breaking up real bad.
yeah. Let's
You're,
give about 5 minutes.
you're cutting out, Dawn.
She might have to drop down and come back again because that really helped the last time.
Yeah, I think she's actually traveling and had to stop to join us.
Yeah.
Yeah, she went up to Colorado and got her granddaughter, the one that you heard talking. She's an angel.
Uh-huh. Well, all children are angels.
Well, this child, I swear, when I met Dawn, she was 3. She could pick up a phone and look up stuff on the internet and all. I'm like, what? I don't know,
You
man.
would, but see, all of us would be able to do that if we had a phone when we were 3. See, that's the difference. That's the
Well,
difference
yeah, it's different.
kid in born right now compared to us when we didn't even have what 3 channels on TV. You see what I mean? So there's a huge difference. We
Well,
didn't have
we
the internet.
we
We didn't
call the
have.
baby baby, and she's 5 now, and she can converse with you like a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
I mean, we grew up in a much
She'll be
different,
right back.
we went into a much different, much simpler time.
Oh,
I,
here's a
I was
question
I used
right
to go
here.
fishing at the creek.
Are viruses alive? Yeah.
Yeah, they're alive. They're proteins, protein chains.
Hmm. So, but the thing is that you know, it's been a struggle. What not just the part what we're working on with the COVID stuff, okay? But when you have problems in your life, also personal problems going on, lots of ups and downs, it makes the rest of it seem 10 times worse. Because I've gone through, well, all 3 of us have gone through emotional stuff outside of this stuff, okay? Outside in our everyday life. And that's what makes it harder because you have to be a very strong person and stubborn as hell. Like I said, I'm a lot like my mom. I'm very stubborn. I'm bullheaded. When I get something in there, it's hard for me to say, oh, I can't, okay, and give up because I'm a bitch when it comes to that stuff, especially when it's stuff that we feel is very important, people we care about, or our pets, or things like that, or our jobs, and she's the same way, and we need people like that, go getters. It's okay. Now you can try to explain to us. Let's see if we can hear
Okay,
you.
I didn't hear the
There you
question
go.
really quick.
Okay, go
Chris,
ahead.
Yeah.
what did you ask me?
Oh, talk about the parasite aspect of it. And someone just asked, are viruses alive? Maybe you could explain to them what the virus is and how it alters your DNA, because that's what viruses do when they get you sick and they attack your DNA. You could explain how those DNA chains get in and out of the blood and all that stuff. I'm really proud of you. You've learned all this stuff in just maybe 3 years or whatever it's been,
Hmm.
and I'm amazed at what you do. And you can explain it in a way that it'll help them understand. Because viruses really aren't alive, but at the molecular level, they interact with our molecular level, and so in that sense, they are alive.
Hmm.
You
Go
know,
ahead.
when okay, so I would actually like go through my bowels, okay, and rinse out my bowels and take out the parasite because I wanted to know what was in my body, right?
Hmm.
That was when I found my first one that was like rolled up, like looked like a dragon, okay,
Hmm.
and everybody, that's why they call him Dragon Slayer, right? But the parasite, as far as the parasite goes, it's not supposed to actually be in your blood. A C. elegans not supposed to be in the human blood. It's supposed to be in the ground. And so it's when I say it's in somebody's body, most people said that's impossible.
Hmm.
If you look back at some of the research that was done, there was one person that did some research in 2018, and the scientist took the C. elegans and put them in the blood, and the C. elegans actually, they said they smashed it like vampire mode. Okay, so they were actually able to feed off the red blood cells and live.
Hmm.
Okay, so with that being said, I now know that they can live in, or they can at least feed off the red blood cells in their body, right?
Yeah.
When I took, when you said I use AI a lot, I did, and I used it because I didn't know what it meant, right? And I needed AI to explain things to me because I was uneducated.
Mm-hmm.
I took a video of the worm that was around my red blood cells that was spinning it and eating it.
Mm-hmm.
And they said to me, "Oh, that's from the study." They even said, "Oh, that's a study from the study of cell division." And it's the cell in the petri dish tells me smashing the red blood cell eating it. I said, "No. That is a video of my blood cell on a live microscope slide, and that's where it's actually a video of." Rock argued with me, telling me that that was not my live blood, that it was actually from the research. And then once she realized that it was my blood slide, she was like, "Holy crap!" The other ones told me that was a elegant.
Uh-oh, she's breaking up really bad.
Yeah. You're the first I am.
Are you using your Tesla screen to do this? We're getting an echo.
No, I'm using my cell phone.
Yeah, we're getting an echo back.
Okay, yeah, let me try logging out, logging back in.
Okay.
Well, I've got when she had to leave, I've got this page of hers on X up, and I'm going down through here because if you go way down, this is way back from when we first started talking, and she showed me some of the things that she got out of her own blood, and got her to start looking at what is it, where did it come from. She was using Grok by giving Grok pictures of these different things and stuff. Like this right here. See this picture?
Take it off. That's the thing. That's the blood clots.
Okay, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. The thing is, you see this picture right here. When I saw my very first video of after autopsies, and they were finding these massive amounts of tissue or whatever it was in the
Yeah, that's one of the photos from that first release.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. But she was finding all kinds of stuff like that on her own before I even saw that thing with the autopsies when they were coming out talking about it. So that's why I was like, she's onto something, because remember, I didn't know anything about any of this stuff. Because remember, I had a doctor, because I was an allergy patient, that told me, don't get the vaccine because we don't know what's in it. So right off the bat, I had someone that was telling me not to try it, and I didn't. And I never even used the COVID testing stuff. I didn't let them stick anything up my nose. The one time I was tested, I made them take my blood, and it was negative. So I've never had COVID, and I'm one of very few, because I've only met a very few people that never had COVID. And when you have your blood tested, they can tell whether you ever had it before, and I haven't. So I'm very lucky on that part of it, all because I had a doctor that said, I don't recommend that you do it, and to stay away from people who have been vaccinated for a certain amount of time because they're shedding, all this kind of stuff. So I just was lucky. I was a lucky person by the grace of God to be in the situation that I was in and moving to Nowhereville, to where there was nothing, hardly anything, there's hardly people or anything, there's a few people, but it's not like when I was in New Orleans. So, yeah, Dawn, I was talking about a lot of the stuff that you showed me from way back when we first started talking about when you first started finding little things in your blood, weird looking things. And when you showed me that video showing those things feeding on the red blood cells, and then those little black specks that were hiding the white blood cells to keep them from being able to come and attack them. You were showing me all that stuff was in your on your microscope. I remember all of it.
Yeah, they're hijacking the white blood cells. They still are to this day. They still have the white blood cells hijacked. And what our body is fighting off just by our own body. It's not, we don't have really an immune system at all helping us defend ourselves unless you take urban, release your white blood cells from being trapped. So that's another thing I noticed that it's just crazy. That's why a lot of people are coming down with cancers and stuff too. My blood was completely black when I started. It was like tar. And now it's bright pink. It's, red. And yeah, I have to keep taking pills to keep that, but it's better than being black and being sick and can't get out of bed and can't move and can't hold your cell phone and stuff like that and going into cancer removal, stuff like that. So it's helping me, and I can't be more grateful than that.
Yeah, I want to share. Is it okay if I share your X profile so other people who might want to go to X can come to your profile and just look through all the stuff that you have posted on your timeline and stuff? Is that okay with you? Okay. Well, I'm going to share that really quick in here because it's very, very informative. And if you leave a comment on her timeline asking, what is this, what is that, whatever, I guarantee that sooner or later she'll get to you and say, this is this and this is that. So she's really good about it. And most of her stuff has information on it already to explain what it is that you're looking at. So I just think she's a whirlwind of information.
Janet, scroll up about three or four pictures.
Okay. This is at the top.
Yeah, go down a
You mean
little
go
bit.
down? Oh, down.
Yeah.
You said
Until
up.
you see a bunch of little yellow rings. Right
These?
there.
Right here?
Yeah. Click on that.
Okay.
All right, watch this.
Feeding time. And here's the snakes. All right, so this snake on this end
Yeah, I was
is
talking
feeding
about
the cell. Blood's coming out. And then here's the other end of the snake. And you can see all of them's ready to start.
That's the video that Josh told me that was the alligator. It was actually that's like I had.
Because they're spinning it. But you can see his little
Yeah,
hands.
that's not supposed to be in your blood.
No, I know. But
Sit here
the
and wait and
thing
see if he
is,
actually finishes
when
it.
when she was explaining a minute ago of how she had to tell them, this is my own blood. This is from my own microscope, and this is a video that I took from my own blood. They didn't want to believe her. They thought she had taken it from somewhere else.
Yeah,
So
we went through a lot of the naysayers.
I know, and that's what I'm trying to say is that she's been showing me this kind of stuff and Chris since when she first, found out about us, and we were willing to listen. And I've had, I don't know how many, almost all the videos at the very beginning when we first started talking about it, they took down. Because they said you can't talk about that, you can't do this, that's medical misinformation. I'm like, we're not saying we're doctors. Nobody is. None of us are doctors. We're just showing you what she found in her own blood, in her own home, in her own microscope, and how she's worked her way all the way to Congress by doing that. That's a huge thing. I don't know anyone else who's ever done anything like this in my lifetime. And I'm very proud of her. I think she's worked very hard, and I'm thankful that she met you, Chris, a person that could actually get her to go to Congress with their information. So to me, it's a miracle. All of this is a miracle that she was able to do any of this stuff. At least that's how I see it. Oh, she tried to drop again. But the thing is, she did this. You see what I mean? She deserves the credit for it because she did it. And I'm not a, oh darn, I lost Christopher too. But she does deserve the credit. And the fact that she's got all these patents pending for her herbs and stuff that she's trying to help people get, because she has to get a certain old ones that haven't been genetically modified and stuff like that, because it's really hard to get a good, I don't know. It was a while back. I think it was last summer. I played a couple videos on one of the shit shows talking about how Lowe's had pulled all the seeds. Remember that? I think I told you about this, Chris.
Yeah.
I went to Lowe's and I was going to get stuff because I got a greenhouse when I got my chicken coop and stuff. And I was like all excited about planting some stuff and trying to do some own lettuce and bean sprouts and doing all this stuff. And they wouldn't sell me seeds. And I go, why aren't you selling seeds? Well, we're not allowed. We were told we're not. And I go, why? It's COVID. Eating vegetables and stuff should help you. And then I went, they don't want you to grow your own vegetables. They don't want you to collect your own rainwater. They don't want you to have access to these things. And to me, that all started clicking, that all this is done to control what we're allowed to have access to. And then I started saying, well, I'm glad I moved where I am. I'm raising my own chickens. And guess what? My chickens never stop laying eggs because I free range. I also feed them leftovers, I'll feed them vegetables and stuff out of my greenhouse. I feed them, I even push mow and get fresh grass and put it in their coop when I can't let them out because there's a predator been seen or whatever, that kind of stuff. That's how hands-on I am with my chickens. And now I have 2 ducks, and we'll see how that goes. But to me, it's important that I know what I'm eating. I work out. I don't smoke. I do drink alcohol. I can't help that. I'm going to drink some wine and stuff. But I do the best I can with what's available to me to stay as healthy as I possibly can. And I tell other people, drink plenty of water, get exercise. You don't have to go, I'm not to go and press, do, arm lifts and all that stuff. Walk. Walking is exercise, go to the park, go feed the ducks, go fishing, go on a little hike. There's so many things that you can do, but do it for yourself so you feel better. I started sleeping better. My knee that I hurt when I was 16 years old, I broke the clutch off of a motorcycle on my knee, and it hurt. It would ache constantly, and it would swell. And I'd go to the doctor, and they'd stick needles in it, thinking it had water on the knee. And I'm like, no, it doesn't have water. It's just swollen because I sat too long, or I walked too much, or whatever it was. So over the years, I just wrapped it and I just didn't tell the doctor. And I just take a couple Tylenol, I was fine because I can't take ibuprofen. I'm allergic to it. So when I started doing a regular workout, doing an elliptical, not on the treadmill, an elliptical, which is like cross-country skiing, guess what? My knee stopped aching all the time. It's really weird how your own body will send the right nutrients and lubrications to your joints. All kinds of things happen when you start taking care of yourself. And that's what I started doing. And I wish more people would try it, because if you just walk every day, just walk. I just say go down the street a little bit, turn around and walk back, and then next day try to go a little bit farther than you went the day before, and just do that every day. And guess what? You feel like you have a little more energy. You feel like you sleep a little better. I mean, you eat more, and you crave things, because when you're pregnant, you crave things, weird stuff. You might crave some kind of candy or a certain food or whatever. Well, guess what? My doctor said, when I asked him about it, that you're craving something because it has something in it that you need, a certain vitamin or a nutrient or, antioxidants or whatever it is. So you find out what's in that, and then just start getting that. Whatever it is that's in there that you need, take it in a vitamin. I take all my supplements separate, all gel caps, or no hard pills. I don't take any hard pills. Everything is something where you can actually, your body can absorb it before you poop, because it's amazing how many vitamins you take, and they're hard, and guess what? They didn't even barely even start to dissolve before it's out of your body. So you basically didn't get anything out of it. So take all of it as supplements if you can, liquid or whatever. But try different ones. Go get a blood test from your doctor and find out what you're low on. Because I didn't even realize I was low until I went and they said, you need more vitamin D. You're definitely low on vitamin D. So that was one of the things that I first started on. But you can work with your doctor. If you trust your doctor, listen to what they have to say and make sure you're truthful with them. Tell them, I have headaches, or my eyes, I can't seem to see well, or whatever it is that you have. If you don't have a good relationship with your doctor, well, guess what? You need to get another one that you trust, because you should have a doctor that you could talk to and that you feel is listening to you and helping you be healthier you. Because a doctor that does nothing but do this and write prescription for you, I don't think has your best interests at heart, honestly, for my own safety. That's what I don't do. I have a doctor that hardly ever has to give me anything because if I can't get it at the health food store, which is a supplement or a new smoothie to make or a new way to make my food, uh, I try not to do any of that stuff. What do you do, Chris, for yourself?
Well, I'm doing exactly what you're doing, and I'm pushing for it to become a part of what RFK is doing, and he's
Hmm.
started kind of moving in that direction. And uh, the one thing that I would say here, that you can find PhDs, doctors, and all that will talk about natural parasite cleanses,
Hmm.
but there's orders that you have to do things in. And you can also find doctors who will talk to you about vitamins and help you understand that calcium will make more water go in your blood and potassium will take more water out, And so if you take potassium and calcium at the same time, they basically counter each other out. So you learn how to take, well, I take this in the morning, I take this in the afternoon, and then the best thing to do is try to get it through your food. Now, I eat for health and do all these herbs, this
Hmm.
stuff that Dawn and I have been working on for all these years, and I've lost 47 pounds and I exercise hours every day. I play golf a few times a week, and I was in a car wreck and they told me in the emergency room, you're never going to play golf again, having a fractured skull and broken arms and legs. And, one of the red light kind of wreck where you're at a red light
Hmm.
and somebody hits you at highway speed. That's what happened to me. And I was really messed up. And it took years for me to get back to being, even halfway normal. And then COVID hit. So I would say if, I wasn't sure how COVID affected me with being tired and all these other things I suffered from for years because of the accident. But now I'm doing all these things, cleansing my body and doing all that kind of stuff. And as I've done that, my health has gotten extremely better.
Well, I
So,
wanted to ask you a question before I forget, because I remember, God, it was last year sometime when we had our last show with Dawn, and you were getting ready to go there, and she was going to get your blood and do some stuff and try to figure out what she could do for you by helping you with supplements or whatever else, what was going to work for you. So when you started taking some of her Tulsi and other things that she had, uh, how have you felt since then, since you started doing that, you personally for yourself?
well, I mean, I grow basil and it's my favorite herb. I like to cook a lot of French food.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always eaten a lot of basil, but she dug into it and got some that have stronger medicinal function. It's kind of like herbs are like weed. They're even realizing that all the terpenes that are in weed are in other plants, right? So if
Yeah.
you want the medical, you know, benefit from the cannabis plant, you can literally get it from other herbs. Now that I've mentioned on on this show, your show,
Mm-hmm.
quite a few times about going to see that Matthew the homesteader guy from Georgia that works for the forestry department.
Mm-hmm.
He has a book and it has all the way back the American Indians, what they were doing in America, in the Appalachian and the Southeast, and how they did it. And you can find anything and everything you want in there. And it's all not virtually cheap. That what you have to spend is a day hiking and everything that you need is there. There's stuff to clear your lungs, antibiotics, things for depression, and all kind of stuff, and it's all available, growing in the ground. And the weird part of it is, if you go down the list, you'll see that bans had to be listed on a lot of these herbal plants over the last few years as we've pushed for this. And guess who put the bans on it?
I'm sure if
Food and Drug Administration and Big Pharma. So
yeah.
they took all that natural medicine away on purpose. So they built a profit model and they were extracting these chemicals out of these natural plants and everything and turn around and sell it to you. But now you're free to go anywhere and pick these things, and I would say that he has the best catalog of them. Now there are other people who specialize in certain things like wild lettuce for pain medicine. You can literally make opium out of weeds in your driveway, right? Well, of
Well,
course they banned that, but it's not banned anymore. And you
well,
can
see,
find
I
out how
grew
to
up.
milk it and cook it. And
Yeah, I grew up under a father who was a jungle survival instructor. So I ate dandelion greens out of my yard. I ate cattails that you get down at the lake when they're green, and we cook them and eat them like corn on the cob. Fiddleheads, which are tiny baby ferns that are first starting to grow coming out of the ground. All kinds of weird stuff like that. Okay, I'd go out with my dad. My mom would tell me she wanted me to go pick poke salad, so I get on my horse and I put a garbage bags on the side over the sides of my horse, over her saddle, and then I'd ride along and I'd pick the tops off. Go home and you have to cook it, drain it, cook it, drain it, and then you get it ready, and then we freeze it. Okay, it has to be cooked a certain way, just like catfish. Any different kinds of fish you have to cook a certain way if you want to get it to where it's not going to be harmful. There's just so many different things that you learn when you're a country kid. I mean, remember my great grandmother grew up on an Indian reservation for Chickasaw Nation in Oklahoma. And so they passed on different remedies of things that they would do. And that's what they didn't want. Just like I said, during COVID, when you went to Lowe's, you couldn't even buy seeds. And Dick Durbin was trying, him and another, I can't remember the other guy that was trying to do it. They were trying to stop people from being able to collect rainwater and certain things that you couldn't even do at your own house, growing vegetables and things like that. And we did a space on it, not me, but Apothecary. She has a big show on Sundays that she talks about medicines and different things like that, mostly natural homeopathic things. But I did a show with her on that, and I got her all the information I could find to do that on spaces, which I think are very informative. There's so much trash on X, okay, and on Facebook and on everything. There's so much garbage out there. You can either go to the drama and do all the garbage shit, or you can go and look for people like Apothecary or American and some other people that actually talk about things to do that can fix the problems that we have, instead of going in and bitch and moan about it. Okay, everyone can bitch and moan. It's the person that gets off their ass and goes and starts doing something. It's the person I want to hang out with. That's the people I want. We did rooms on how to take care of your backyard chickens, stuff like that, how to feed them, how to take care of them. What does this mean? What is that? And try to help each other. And it's free, because you just get on, you're already on the app. Why not look for things to help yourself, instead of wanting to go to this other room where they regurgitate all the stuff they're pissed off about? There's no reason to do that, when you can go to find people like Dawn or you, and we can actually talk about ways to fix things and how to help ourselves. Welcome back, Dawn.
Thank you.
We missed
You want to
you.
hear something funny?
Yeah.
You mentioned the chicken thing.
Mhm.
I had an alligator that got in my pen and ate two of my chickens.
Oh,
I know. And then
no.
I get a possum. So I trapped this possum. No bull crap, you guys. This is how I am. I trapped this possum. I went out there to shoot it, right?
Mhm.
I see something moving in its belly. And I'm thinking, oh my
Oh,
God, it's got parasites, right? Nope, nope. She had 12
babies.
babies.
Oh,
So of course, what do? I start feeding her and watering her.
yeah.
I'm like, God. And I let her go, right? Right back under the chicken coop. I fixed it to where she can't get in the chicken coop now, but now I got another pet possum, right? So I'm not
Yeah,
doing
I
too good at
know. That
that.
happens to me a lot. It happens to me a lot. I'm always finding something.
I've been out to
People.
Houston. I've been out to Houston before to work with her for a week, 10 days, whatever.
Yeah.
I went and helped them when the hurricane knocked the trees down and shit. I'll go down there, and before I leave, there'll be 3 new dogs. Swear to God.
Yeah, I believe it. But you got to remember, she lives out in the country like me, right? People drive from the town out to the country, and they got a puppy they bought their kids for Christmas. It's 6 months old now, and it's pooping and peeing in the house, chewing shit up. And they just tell the kids, oh, it must have ran away. They take it out in the middle of places like where I live and dump it. And then it's got to fend for itself, not get hit by a car or whatever. And that's ridiculous that people do that, but it happens all the time. I went to my dad's because remember my dad was sick, and we were trying to help get his house, cleaned up and stuff while he was at my sister's being cared for because he fell and hurt his leg. And I'm gone for 3 days. I come home and half my chickens are dead. And I got this strange dog that was 6 months old, a white, beautiful shepherd I know someone got for Christmas because that was 6 months ago. And it's chewing up all my furniture and my pillows and stuff on my front porch because nobody was there. So, and then I spent $1,500 getting her fixed, bought her food, all kinds of stuff, and finally got her a home. But it took me like 6 months, and I had to keep her chained up and stuff because she was going to kill all my chickens. So, and it's pathetic that people would do that. I think it should be against the law to buy a dog or a cat and give it as a gift on Christmas to any kid. I just think it should be wrong.
Right.
My personal opinion on that is I'd rather have the dog than a person, right? I'd be like, somebody was bitching about the dog. I'll tell you what, the dog can stay. You got to leave, right? I mean,
Well,
dogs are faithful and loyal, and they're, unconditional love and everything that a person wants. And anybody that would turn a dog away in my world is subhuman.
Yeah, it's just horrible what these people do. And
Wait a minute, we're supposed to take care of our dogs?
and the thing is they do this and they dump them in the country because they know that we don't all have, cameras on our mailboxes and shit, So they're going to get away with it. And I wish we could catch all of them because I just think it's horrible that you get a puppy, you don't train it or do anything to teach it not to poop and pee in your house from day one like you should to make it a good dog. But yet, as soon as it chews up anything, whatever, you just don't want to take care of it. You don't want to get it spayed or neutered, or you don't want to get it shots. So you just want to look good for Christmas, right? And then you devastate your kid by just having it disappear in the middle of nowhere, or you find out it's pregnant because you didn't take any time to make sure it was taken care of as a pet like you supposedly bought it for, and now you take it and you dump it somewhere so she can have puppies on the side of the road. It's disgusting. It just makes me sick to my stomach that people do those things, but they do. It's a reality that we have to live with, is that. And then you have puppy mills where they raise all these animals in cages in their backyard, and they sell the puppies for $300 or whatever a piece, $500, and they sell them on the internet or whatever. And it's sad and pathetic that people shouldn't be able to do that stuff. I wish.
Yeah, I think Jesse just brought up a good point in comments that how
This one?
veterinarians worked with holistic medicine and herbs and stuff like that for years, right? So we're just catching up with people. That's very true.
Well, my grandfather, he shoot horses for a living, for a long time there. And, and he had a farm, and he had two ponds, and he moved his cows back and forth and all that stuff. But he had lots of horses, and he trained horses, okay? Because my horse, which I got, was my grandpa would shoot horses, and I'd go with him every summer when I was able to go and stay with him. And I would help him get his tools and do the auger and do all that cool stuff and hand him his nails for the and his file, whatever he was doing. I just loved doing it because I was a tomboy big time. And I remember he saw this colt that was following a couple of these horses around, and she was real scrawny and wormy and really nasty looking. I mean, she just was really pitiful. And he told the guy, I'll take this colt. Because he could tell the guy wasn't taking care of it, and he wasn't feeding it enough and stuff. If I shoot these 3 horses for you, and the guy said sure. So when we brought her home, because he got her for me, and he fed her a bag of that chewing tobacco. I can't remember what brand it was. He fed her that, and I was like, "Why are you feeding her? That's disgusting." He said, "Well, she's got worms." Is what he said. So he did all these different things, and he showed me how to clean her and brush her and everything, and I did all that. And then, boy, she had worms. They were really bad. But after she got the worms out, she started gaining weight. She looked good. She started looking really good, and I put a bridle on her. I started walking her and showing her, training her with my grandpa's help. Before the end of the summer, I was had her really well trained where she'd come when I called her. And I couldn't ride her because she wasn't old enough, so I had to wait a whole nother school year for her to come back the next summer and stay. And by that time, my grandpa had already broke her, so she was able to ride you were able to ride her and stuff with a saddle. So he'd already trained her and everything. So when I came back, he showed me how to do barrel racing and stuff. So I learned all this stuff, and it was just wonderful to have that. And I had just had a great, wonderful grandparents. I was very lucky to have that. But so many people don't get that. But when you do get the opportunity to do those things, you just got to put everything you can into it. Show the person that gave it to you, the pet, the hamster, goldfish, whatever it is, put everything you have into showing the person that you love them by taking care of what it is they gave you. Okay, gave it to you to teach you responsibility or whatever their purpose behind it was. Like right now, I have a dog. The person died that had this dog, and his daughter already had two beagles. She didn't want to have to take it, and the daughter and son, they all had pets already, and they were like, we can't take the dog. And they didn't want to have to just put it in the shelter. She was 14 years old already, so I took her. And she doesn't bark or anything for me. She kind of whines a little, but she sits at the foot of my bed, and she's really sweet. And she's getting to where she's comes to me and stares at me or whatever. But she loves my daughter. I mean, to death. I mean, she cries and whines for her all the time. But she's spends more time with me, but she just doesn't, for some reason, there's something about me she just doesn't really care so much about, because maybe it's because she knows I'm not going to give her chicken bones and whatever else that the other people gave her. I'm very strict about her having a good diet and all that stuff, but she'll warm up to me. I've only had her like almost 6 months, I guess. It's been about 6 months, but she's a sweetheart. But it's sad that so many people just don't take care of their pets, and they get them for the wrong reasons. You know, you should
My
get a pet
father's
because you want.
grandfather was a blacksmith,
Yeah.
and he owned horses. And his sister, my Aunt Marie, she's 87 now, and she still has a few horses out in Santa Fe, New Mexico. But when I was growing up, they had a little farm on Hilton Head Island. When there was
Mm-hmm.
before, they turned that into a resort place. It was just a bunch of farms and acreage, and she had horses down there. Once I learned how to ride them, I joined the horse club where they kept all the cavalry horses at Fort Sam Houston, and used to do all the jumps and all that kind of stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
there's something special about growing up around horses. Dawn, you could even talk about. She had a equine recovery center for a while. Talk about that, Dawn.
Yeah, I did open a inpatient facility using horse treatment to treat dual diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of the best programs that I ever wrote and created and opened in my life.
Yeah.
And it was just
Sounds like
amazing. The
it.
horses are amazing. They'll heal you. They're your mirror, they mirror you. So I was able to break through treatment a lot faster because they would tell me things about the patient that the patient would never tell me.
Mm-hmm.
Just like by walking it, I would tell them, go walk that horse. And if the horse was pulling away from it, then I knew that the client had anger issues. If the horse was all nudging the client, then I knew I had boundary issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it told me a lot about the client that I wouldn't get from the client in a 6-month course, right?
So I'm gonna get your profile again. I'm gonna share it in
One
the
thing I want to
chat.
say, Janet, is you mentioned something really, really important there that your grandfather used. It was an old remedy. of the tobacco
Mm-hmm.
to get rid of the worms. And so a lot of people have stated on COVID that tobacco nicotine was helping.
Yeah,
And when I put
remember
nicotine on
everyone
the
was talking
slide,
about smoking, and they didn't get sick.
yep,
So I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying that we yeah. The thing is though, it if people don't listen to other people when they say, well, I smoke and I never got it, or whatever. I don't smoke, but I didn't get it, but I wasn't anywhere. You know what I'm saying? And plus I have allergies. So what do? I wash my hands 20 times a day because I don't know if I touch my skin or if I'm going to itch from it. And when I go to the grocery store, I have to be real careful, and I have hand wipes because somebody might have lotion with sulfur on it from the Bath and Body Works, and they put their hand on the handle, or they're picking stuff up off the shelf and putting it back, and now I have it on my hand, and now my hand's all itchy, you see? So maybe that's one reason why I didn't get sick. It's because I was constantly washing my hands. I don't touch my face all the time because that's how people get sick. You touch something and then you're scratching your face, or you're poking your eye or whatever. A lot of people do a lot of these things, but depending on what's going on with you, like my sister. One of my sisters has what's that called when you get rosacea on your face? Trying to think of, there's a disease that women get.
starts
Mostly
with a
women.
P.
Can't remember the name of it right this second. This went totally blank. But she takes ivermectin for it. That's one of the things that she was prescribed, and she never got COVID. Can't remember what it's called. And I was tested for it because my grandmother had it.
Was it psoriasis?
No, it's a disease that you can get.
So listen to this craziness, right? But you brought up a neat point. So there was this doctor, like Doctors with Borders guy, and there was this one part of Africa where scabies were epidemic. And so they treated that whole area with scabies. He said he gave out 1 billion doses of ivermectin for scabies, and not one single person in that entire part of Africa got COVID. Not one. And COVID was in Africa.
Yeah.
And so, yeah,
I think
that
I remember
ivermectin, it was a prophylactic. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just saying. A
I
lot
will
of
say
people
this.
saw things that other people didn't see, and it saved a lot of lives because of it.
I saw since
It could have saved a lot more.
right.
There was a substantial cover up. There was a lot of misinformation and lies. And Dawn and I could tell you an hour worth of stories of the way we've been harassed by the government. And I mean, in crazy ways, some you wouldn't even believe. And now that I'm seeing the hearings and all of that, I've got peace. But my point is now, well, now we've worked our butts off to figure out a way to treat this, and they want to argue about the lies. It's like, we got to get past that, for Christ's sake. We got to get to the solution. And what I've been bringing up tonight is all the new information that I'm getting from leaders all over the world, that now they're suppressing the new stuff, like the ivermectin and fenbendazole curing stage 4 cancer, like the ways that they know that C. elegans are everywhere. They know how to get rid of people when they reach the point of infestation. They know what to give people for that. And they're not telling everybody there's a worldwide parasitic epidemic, and most of us are sick with it. If you're not treating it actively right now, then you're suffering from it. It makes you tired, makes you feel like you're always hungry, you're bloated all the time, you get extra gas. If you're having any of those symptoms, you go straight to your doctor and tell them.
What people just went through with the Taco Bell explosive diarrhea from the from the lettuce. You mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's not. This is the worst ever. 4,700. Well, it's over 5,000 now. But in 2019, there were 3,700 people infected with that. So that comes and goes. But what it means is that they were shitting on the food.
what that means is people are buying their lettuce and their celery and their stuff from the store, but they're not washing any of it when they make a salad.
You can't wash it. You
can't
cannot
wash it
wash that. No, it will not
Well,
wash off.
okay, well, I'm
Only
lucky. I
thing that
haven't gotten
kills
any
it,
of it.
the only thing that kills it is if it goes over 160 degrees, and that ruins lettuce.
Mhm.
So
I've been lucky. I haven't had that. I haven't had anything like that.
I'm echoing again. I got to drop back out and come back in.
Oh, I didn't
I'll
hear
be
it.
right. Yeah, it's doing it on me really bad.
Okay.
I'll be right back. 1 second.
But the thing is that all we can do is get the information and try to share it, which is what I try to do. I try to share the links to anything that I find, any interviews that I have or anything like that on the shit show. I try to share all the links because, let me remove the other one. There we go. Because I had two Chris up there. I know you
Sorry
said you
about that.
couldn't see it, but no, that's all right. That's what happens sometimes. But I try to give as much information as I can. Okay, and I'm not saying I'm always right, because I'm not. All I know is that I get the information from someone. Like the videos that I shared. Like I said about all the dogs that died. And you had a person that had a camera on their shirt and they were walking through the place going, look, see, every one of them's dead. They're all dead. We're going to have to get rid of them, blah, blah, blah. And every one of them were vaccinated, and he tried to share that. And then the whole thing about the laptop that came out, all the different stuff. And then when you had the Smith-Munt Act, okay, that was, what was it, 2013 or, all I know is that it was Obama that signed it, so that basically the media can just use propaganda, and we can't hold them accountable for it.
Well, for all the members that are
Turn
on,
that over again. We need to get Trump to get rid of it. We got a Congress right now, all of our senators that won't even pass the SAVE Act. They're not going to get rid of the Smith-Munt Act or fix it.
for all the members that are here tonight, Ron Johnson, who's one of the members of the Presidential Intelligence Advisory Board, that's an elected official, gave a huge talk on how bad this problem is, and he goes into detail about the hiding of the information, what they're hiding, and what we're up against coming into this election, this midterm. And I posted that in the Friday night shit show share.
Yeah.
And I would suggest everybody go look at that, because it is scary. It'll make you go around and tell everybody to go vote. I promise you,
Which one was it again in the shit show? Okay, which one was it that you just brought up?
I think the title of it is there was a FBI agent who was running a shadow government. Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna copy the link, and I'm gonna share it in the chat.
Okay. Yeah.
See,
I would
that's what I like
suggest
having
everyone go look at that.
But
He's
see,
one of my bosses, and I'm
this is the
telling you, he
reason
opens
why
it
I
up.
say if you share it in the shit show chat, then I will have the links when we
Yeah.
need them, so I can share them, because I do like to share information, even though it might be on a platform I don't really agree with. It doesn't matter. It's the information that you're giving someone to look up, and then let them make their own decision from what they listen to. Or what I tell people to do is listen to this thing, watch it, take notes, and go look up things, or pause the video, look it up on, DuckDuckGo or whatever, and get more information from it. And I also recommend, if you're on X or anything like that, to go down and read comments on these posts too, because sometimes people put really good information under the information you're reading,
Absolutely.
adding more context to whatever it was posted. So spend some time. If you're going to be on there anyways, why not read a little bit more and find out more information, and bookmark it. That's another thing. I save it or bookmark
Share it.
Share it. Yeah. Share it too. So, but I just want to say thank you for you two for joining me tonight. We're just right at almost at 2 hours. So,
Yeah, it went by fast tonight with two people. I hope Dawn comes back.
It always goes by quick, because we're always excited about getting to see each other and talk about stuff that we haven't been able to really put more stuff in there. But Dawn is always so busy all the time. So hopefully the information I send her on the other things, that she can start working on that and get that stuff taken care of. I hope that works out for her, and that she can get some help with all those
Well,
things.
you made it through the show. You got to go get something to eat.
Yeah, I'm starving. I'm so hungry. My stomach's growling because I haven't eaten since like early, like at 11 o'clock today. So I'm really hungry, but I had a lot of stuff to do. So, and plus it was hot out, and you don't want to eat when it's really, really hot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
What'd she say? I'm gonna say, yes, I've done that. I've done that, and I've been stand-in. I've done a lot of other commercials and things like that. I've even been one commercial, I'll tell you, because you have to go through a lot of them to find me in it. I was in a couple of those. What is it? It's a dating site for Christian Mingle. I've been in a couple of Christian Mingle commercials. Believe it or not, they don't hire just Christians to be in their commercials. Okay,
She's being modest. She was an extra in a Sylvester Stallone movie.
a couple of different, lots of people. I've been in movies with Matthew McConaughey. I've been in movies with Woody Harrelson. I've been in tons of shows.
That's the truth.
But yeah, I love it. It's fun. I enjoy it. I do as much as I can. I've been in lots of commercials. I was in a NFL commercial not very long ago. I won't say, what I did or anything, but I was in one. So it just depends on what they're paying or whether or not I'm going to do it. But most of the stuff I do, Jess, is I do promotional work. Like let's say you go to a convention and there's a woman walking around giving out samples for vape, even though I don't vape. And she has on the little thing with the little box, like an old cigarette, person, that kind of stuff. Or I'm giving out samples of like Sky vodka or stuff like that, walking around, or what's that, Sprint, doing stuff for Sprint or whatever. That's what I do. I do mostly that. That's the kind of stuff I do for money, to make money. But yeah, it's fun, and a lot of people can do it. There's one company, it's called Big Orange Productions, and if you have a city near you, that's a good place to get a job, because you just sell for them. And if you can get on a show like this, and I know Jess does, and you talk and you're willing to sell a product for somebody, they want you. I mean, they need people like that are willing to speak to anyone, whether it's a man or a woman. And I've dressed up as Tony the Tiger and passed out boxes of cereal. I've done tons of stuff. And it's always exciting and fun, and I never find it boring. And they always seem to like what I do, so they always seem happy with me. That's why I keep getting calls. So, because I do the best I can at whatever it is I'm doing. I try to do the best I can. But this whole thing, the only reason I started doing any of this was because Bruce, his girlfriend at the time, saw one of my TikTok videos. And the first one I ever made, I'm going to do it again. Here I go. I was on elliptical, and I was walking on the elliptical in my office, and I was looking up, and I got memorabilia everywhere, my comic book characters stuff, and I have a whole thing with Wolverine. I got a giant cutout of Hugh Jackman. I got all, because I do promotional work, so I get lots of those big 6-foot tall people to stand up there and promote whatever it is I'm promoting. And I'm looking at Hugh Jackman, and I'm looking at all my Wolverine stuff, and I'm on my elliptical, and I'm like, I'm coming for you, Wolverine. I've been on a dry spell so long, I'm gonna tear your ass up. Like that. And I made a goofy video and I put it on TikTok. Okay. And my sister was like, they thought it was so funny. So after I started doing that, someone said, hey, YouTube is doing shorts. So I started putting my shorts on YouTube. So I started doing that. And then next thing I know, Bruce contacts me and wants to interview me as Janet from Another Planet. And he asked if I wanted to do movie reviews with him. So see, one thing goes from one way to another, and you never know who you're going to meet. And I've been learning since then. I started learning how to do intros and outros and, all kinds of stuff. So
Yeah, your new shorts have been really good. The ones
Yeah,
for the show.
yeah, I've been trying to do
Yeah.
make different shorts and try and do whatever I can. But my outro tonight is going to be a video I made, and then I connected it to another video that I have permission to use about COVID and stuff. So you guys will get to see that one. But yeah, it's fun. I've learning a lot. I don't make any money doing it yet. Hopefully one day maybe I'll make some money enough to pay my internet would be I'd be happy with that. I'm not anyone. I'm not anybody that's going to say, oh, look at me, I'm getting a check from X, so I'm going to quit my job. I'm never going to do that. Never. I'm always going to keep my home life where I have a life. You know what I mean? I'm not going to give this up, but I'm not going to make this everything. You know what I mean? I wouldn't do that. That's not living. You still got to be a person and have
Well, you're
friends.
very good at it.
Well, I like doing it because I like talking. So anyone who loves to talk about whatever can do this. You know what I mean? If you want. But
Well, I certainly have fun doing it. I'm glad I got a spot in your thing. So
well, I'm glad I got to meet you because I mean, if things hadn't worked out the way that they have, in the progression, as it goes along, I never would have met you on X to do spaces and stuff like that. So,
yeah, I know.
everything
I
works
got it.
out for a reason, for some reason. We just don't know at the time why, and where the future might go. But you have to be open to it or you never find anything, right?
All right. Well, I'll fix my X account. Thanks for looking it up for me and let me
Well, I'm
see.
I'm just saying, if you're paying for an account and you haven't been able to get on since February, I'd be going, fix
Well,
my
yeah, I know.
fix my shit.
I don't
I'm
like
paying
arguing
you.
with Elon,
I would have
but
been pissed off.
I don't like arguing with Elon, but I'm definitely going to make a comment about the way he cussed out that media chick today. It was the bomb. And if you haven't seen that, go find that. He
Yeah.
literally tells a lady to shut up, tells her you're a liar. That was awesome.
Yeah, and I wish he did it more. I wish he did it on X more because I remember when I first came to X, back to X, because remember I was on Twitter. This is my fourth account on Twitter, or now X. Was when he first came, I loved it because he was on all the time. He was doing spaces. It seemed like the algorithm was really, really good. It was all fair. It seemed like everybody stuff was being seen. People, because I have real friends in real life that I actually met and ate with and stuff that are on here, and then I never see them anymore. Like the other
Yeah.
day, I wrote and I said, "Hey, Lori, I actually see you on X." All of a sudden, she disappeared again. But it goes up and down. It's like they're flipping switches. Like if you start getting too many followers, they flip the switch where you go back down to one a week. Or whatever. I don't know. I don't understand any of that stuff. But that's what it seems like, and I can only go by what I see and deal with. As a normal person, because I'm not like a genius or a doctor or a lawyer or any of that stuff. So, but I'm going to say thank you to everyone again and say hi to everyone that stopped in, and we really appreciate you. I really do. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of this evening. And if you can, stop by and see us tomorrow night for the Friday Night Shit Show, because we're going to talk about all kinds of shit that's going on. And I'll try to have as much shit as possible. And some good shit, because there is good shit that's happening also. It's not just bad stuff.
Amen.
So thank you so much. And I hope you guys enjoyed the outro. But thank you so much.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for
Bye.
showing up.
Bye.
American COVID-19 vaccine deaths, it ranges from about 470,000 from Pfizer alone up to 840,000 American deaths from the COVID-19 vaccines. We have to remember that that is rivaling the American soldier death toll of World War I, World War II, Vietnam, and the Iraq War combined.